Hi everybody, people on the call and people who are watching this recording. I had a little technical challenge which actually isn't fixed, so that you might find that there's two recordings for you to watch. And just so I can collect myself after the attempt at troubleshooting, I'm going to hand over to Tracy Adams to introduce our facilitators. I'm just going to pause and breathe.
Thanks Cherie, and thanks for everyone for being patient, and Cherie for hanging in there with us. I'll just quickly introduce the organisers as myself, Tracy in Mullaney, and Shez or Cherie in Melbourne, and Gulshan in Melbourne as well. So we've been working together for the last several months to get this together, and we're really hoping it's going to influence the way NVC is taught and practiced in Australia. I in particular have a belief that bringing more body awareness and movement into NVC is just a fantastic way to deepen it and bring a greater level of embodiment, authenticity, vulnerability, connection and freedom. So I won't say a lot about Robert and Sarah. They've both got extremely impressive CVs which are on our website if you haven't already checked it out. Robert's been training in NVC and conflict mediation for about 27 years, including 12 years in practice as a psychotherapist, and also does lots of other interesting things like Bohemian dialogue, art of hosting, contact improv, and teaches NVC all around the world. Sarah has been practicing NVC for several years and is absolutely passionate about NVC and also about dance in many forms. And you look at her dance CV, it's kind of amazing for someone who, to my eyes, looks so young, has managed to do so many different trainings and experiences in movement of all forms, including contact improv, and also has a degree in psychology as well. So, yeah, both Robert and Sarah bring great depth of experience, knowledge and passion for the human experience. Yeah, so I was kind of pondering ways to bring more body movement and awareness into NVC, and I saw that they were offering these workshops in Europe and decided it would be a great thing to bring them here, and I'm very pleased they said yes. So Robert, Shez, do you want to do that little thing about bringing people into their body? Oh no, she's off sorting something. Okay.
No, I'm here, and I could do with coming into my body, so yes, I'd love to.
Okay, great.
Okay, so just, put yourself in an upright and comfortable position. I'm going to do this with my eyes closed. It'll be just a couple of minutes to help us land where we are in this space and place right now after either a busy day or a night's sleep. That's just taking 3 deep breaths in your own time. And on the exhale, just consciously letting go, relaxing your body. Perhaps letting your belly relax and your shoulders drop. Just noticing where your body connects with your physical environment, whatever you're sitting on, wherever your body is connecting with another surface. Just letting your breathing settle into a natural rhythm, and just being in a space of gratitude for the lungs that breathe for us. Marshall Rosenberg talks about what's alive in us. And this work with Robert and Sarah is about being in our body and with movement. And so just take some time to notice what's moving and alive in us right now. You may have thoughts passing through your mind, as I do. And just notice them passing through as if they're birds flying across the sky. With some curiosity about perhaps what feelings are alive in those thoughts. Perhaps focusing your attention on your upper torso, where the heart resides. It symbolises emotions and what feelings are present in you right now. You might be feeling some anticipation or excitement, or perhaps some nervousness. Just giving space to whatever is there. And then dropping down your awareness into your belly, and this is where I locate what matters to us at the core of our being. The needs, the values, what's important to us. Just noticing what's coming up for you in this moment. What do you long for? Or are there needs that are met? Just naming them. And then bringing your attention to what called you to this call tonight or this morning, wherever you are. And what would you like to know, to ask? To get out of being on this call tonight? And or from the retreats if you're clear at this point that you would like to attend. And if that was too many words for you, just being with what is there for you right now. And when you're ready, just take another deep breath and open your eyes and come back to the group. And I'd like to say that really helped me land in my body and give space to the thoughts I had about not being good enough in terms of how this call began. So it's feeling much more peaceful and accepting right now. And I would like to hear just from maybe two people, very briefly. If there's anybody that's willing, would you put up your hand? And if there's no one, we can move on to the next part.
Well, I can say I felt a great sense of peacefulness, and it was a relief because I've had a really difficult day. So thank you.
Thank you.
I was feeling really sweaty and hot, and that just cooled me down, which was just perfect. So thanks, Sheree.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so we're a little bit behind the schedule that we'd planned. Perhaps I'd like to ask Robert and Sarah to spend maybe 2 or 3 minutes each just sharing a little bit about why you do this work and what, you know, the combination of nonviolent communication and contact improv exercises and yeah, how that's impacted you. And I was also thinking of how it's, you know, what kind of shifts you've seen in participants, but I'm wondering if we might leave that till a bit later and just hear from you, Robert or Sarah. Is it alive for either of you to go first? Or who wants to go second?
I can go first.
Thanks, Sarah.
So hi everyone. I'm very excited. I never did something like this yet before. And yeah, why do I do this, or how I came to it, to combine those two worlds in a way. I knew already nonviolent communication when I totally dived into a dance program and becoming a dancer. And for me, it was just in everything we did there, in improvisation, in dance, and moving the body, moving the energy inside, actually, the aliveness, and to learn by moving and also by dance technique to know how to direct this and how to really embody what you want to move.
É até as 8. É até as 8. 7h25.
What? I felt so that this is just like NVC in a body way, and I felt always that the body is so intelligent, and that I just have to really dive into the system of the body and to yeah, so for me to dive into this body intelligence just has been such a life-changing journey, and is still. I mean, this never ends. And another aspect for me is also that movement and the body language can have an abstraction to our clear meaning of words that created another space for creativity and for connection that can go beyond these blockages where we get stuck in our concepts or in our ideas how things should be, or something like this. And well, and I feel just like, I mean, we are embodied beings, and I think a free and peaceful body creates also a really clear mind. And yeah, I think our life in this society has been already a lot into the direction of the mind, and I think we have to get back to the whole of what we are. So yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm really moved by what you've just said, actually. Thank you. Robert, would you like to say something? Point?
Sure. Hi, my name is Robert. I'm from Slovenia, which is a very small country in Europe. Right now I'm in Israel. It's morning, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I just realized I'm very excited about the thought of coming back to Australia. I was spending 9 months in Australia about 26 years ago. So I'm just really excited about going back to see whether it's still down under or whether it moved. I just want to also say that I'm very touched, really touched by all the work that the organizers have done so far. I haven't ever experienced anything like this, like how much structure and attentiveness and focus and planning and all of that has been made. I'm like really impressed, really, and deeply grateful about that. And it's quite a learning experience for me. So why do I do this work? I can very much connect to what Sarah was saying. Maybe I want to emphasize a few things that are really kind of alive in me. One is that I see the bodies as portals to some kind of a deeper self-connection. Somehow body can always bring me into now, into the presence of the now. My mind wanders into the future and the past, and body is always here. So somehow it's a direct inlet and a portal into the now and into deeper self-connection. Also, what I love about this work is that we are exploring the same qualities as we do in personal work or spiritual growth and nonviolent communication and all this. They're the same qualities we are exploring, like vulnerability and presence and authenticity and free choice and all that stuff. But in a way, there is this reality check all the time present. I notice I can so efficiently fool myself about many aspects of my being. I can fool myself in that I am very spiritually advanced, or that I'm very peaceful right now, or that I have no reactions and I'm fine, I'm okay. And then later on I realized it wasn't quite the case. But somehow body can always, if I put my attentiveness on my body, it can always bring me back into the reality. I cannot pretend to be tired or to be fresh. I can't fool myself that I'm not sleepy when I'm actually am sleepy. I cannot pretend to be a good dancer if I'm not. So it's really a deep, profound connection with the reality in which my mind has a bit harder time to play certain games, and also so for me it's really exploring really all the same qualities as we do in nonviolent communication, for instance, but with additional flavor of total presence in the moment and a connection with a deeper reality in this moment. So less lost in the mind stories. And maybe the last bit, it's also connected to what I heard Sarah saying, is that throughout there is a history to it. Thousands of years, our bodies were controlled. That there is this paradigm of controlling our bodies with our minds, like mind is superior and bodies are inferior, primitive, and we need to control them with our minds. And we have now been having this heavily domesticated bodies, in which we even go to courses to learn how to run, even though we knew how to run when we were 5. So for me, it's really about about unleashing this incredible potential that's been hidden and suppressed in our bodies, and returning back to a more holistic experience of this experience of human existence, and exploring what so far was being mostly in the domain of our mind, exploring it and embodying it in more holistic way. So for me, to summarize it, for me, nonviolent communication and let's say contact improvisation are both exploring the same, but just coming from different perspectives. And in the work Sarah and me have been doing and engaging in, we are trying to bring these two parts together into a more holistic experience.
Thank you, Robert. As someone who's travelled through life with a body that has been literally bent out of shape by life, I have found, even since we've been working together to create the retreats, that I have had shifts in how I relate to myself and my body. So I really resonate with what it is that you're both saying. And I'm excited about doing the movement bit too. It will go, I imagine it will go a lot deeper, and yeah.
I would like to add something I was just thinking of, that, yeah, we often talk about these depths and the processes, and yeah, I think sometimes it's also not so easy, or it's even heavy to be with all these feelings. And what I also really appreciate about this work, as we have already experienced it, by staying in movement in a way constantly with the things, there's a flow of life, I feel, that carries also all these processes and the difficulties and the challenges, and somehow I feel the aliveness is really supporting depth in a way that it's deep but also light. So there is a light in the darkness, maybe, or something like this. And for me, that's really a gift, because I really like to dive into what I call now the darkness, but I think, because I think it's not so dark. There's a lot of light in there when we can stay alive there. So yeah, that's what came to me.
Thank you, Sarah. Just bringing a bit of balance there. Thank you. I'm just looking at the time, and it's telling me my free meeting will end in 10 minutes. I'd like to go to some questions, and just to let anybody know who's joined the call more recently, that we will be jumping off and jumping back on again to finish the call. So so let's go to the questions. Robert and Sarah, are you in the text box to the right? Or if you click on the text, the chat icon around the centre in the bottom, the text box will pop up, and you can see the questions where we learn movement activities that could be incorporated into an NVC training.
Sherry, I'm having difficulty to find this. So when I click on chat box, I just see a few chat messages, but
scroll down to the bottom, Robert. To
the bottom of what?
to the bottom of the chat box, like.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so I can launch in trying to answer this.
Yeah.
Yes. First thing I want to say is I'm also not a contact improvisation facilitator. I started to learn contact improvisation about 5 years ago and consider myself a beginner, and I think I will continue considering myself a beginner. Luckily, Sarah is an expert in this, so I'm learning from her. And yes, I love to bring more and more of this embodiment and movement processes in regular NVC trainings, which I lead, because I notice that yeah, they just bring so much more of embodiment and clarity very often to participants, whether it's a very beginner's intro NVC workshop or a kind of a deepening advanced one. So I'm pretty confident that there will be, even though we will be doing also more complex processes, but there will be lots of inspiration for what simple processes, or complex for that matter, facilitators of NVC workshops can start using in their regular workshops in order to enhance and deepen the experience of participants.
I just want to add something to that. For anyone who's interested, on the last afternoon of the retreat, there's an optional extra 2.5 hours for anyone who wants to teach or facilitate this kind of integrated work. And that would also be an opportunity to bring in, you know, other movement forms that we do, like Feldenkrais, like a bit of a kind of skill sharing. How do we actually teach this integrated form, and also an opportunity for networking with other trainers if you wanted to collaborate on that. And there's no extra cost for that extra bit in the last afternoon.
So Valerie, if can you give a sign if you have a sense your question has been answered, so we can move to the next one? Is it? No.
Yeah, yes, I think that answers my question well. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So Sarah,
If you're not, can everybody mute, please?
Especially if you're juicing.
Oh, sorry. Thought mine was off.
Yay, thank you.
so Sarah, do you want to answer the second question, or would you like me to do it? Is the contact movement with more than one person?
I can. I mean, the short answer is that there is possibility to have, like, to move with several persons, and it's yeah, it's not something that it's fixed with one person, and it's flow also. Yeah, changing persons, changing partners, and having the possibility also to dance alone. And there's, of course, some exercises proposed which are with one person. So, yeah, I don't know. Do you have something to add to it?
Yes, I'd like to bring maybe some more pictures of it. So of course, as Sarah said, we can, you know, it can be individual, exploring following my own flow and authenticity and stuff, and then it can be one person, and many people. It's really an improvised movement, and basically following the contact and following what's alive in our body. So incredible practice in being present and following the movement of life in us. But for me, there are so many aspects that bring about this exciting connection with life and exploring with life. For instance, just one of them is approaching a person to dance with the person, or leaving the person I have been dancing with and this dance has not been as alive as I would have. So just these two movements, they bring about very often, so many core beliefs. Like, if I approach a person, am I good enough of a dancer am I going to be enjoyable for this person? Is this person actually enjoying dancing with me, or are they suffering? So there's just so many core beliefs coming up. And or I'm dancing with this person, but I'm not enjoying it anymore. I would like to leave and dance with another person. But I'm such a nice guy. I don't want to abandon people. And, you know, again, there's so many things can come up that we will be then processing and exploring through the dance, and processing again and exploring and seeing how can we move towards a greater authenticity, a greater vulnerability, and a deeper showing ourselves fully in this life, and following the movement and following what emerges in the moment, rather than following our established agenda in our minds. So very often, at least for me, it was something I didn't share before, and maybe I'd just like to throw it in right now, that for me, what I learned so far is incredible through this embodied practice. For the first time in my life, I started to really differentiate between sexuality and intimacy. I started to explore how can I be intimate and tender and with other person without this going into sexuality. Especially a huge discovery for me is how can I be tender and gentle with men? Because being raised in this rather homophobic society, I was trained to be just kind of a rough with men. We just hit on shoulders and say ho 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 ho. But how
Robert,
yes.
We're about to go to a break, so I just want to let you know.
Okay.
I'm really sad, but it's telling me less than 1 minute. So
okay.
I wondered if that was a good point for actually we could choose to log out now, and I just didn't want you to get cut off in mid-sentence, but I did that
Sure.
anyway.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So we log out and log back in, or
well,
we wait?
It will log us out, I think. I expect it was saying less than 1 minute, and so I thought it was imminent. But if you can remember where you were up to with relating intimately with men.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to end the meeting and invite everybody back in.